All right, having said that, we do have a question tonight. Our questions do come courtesy of the Premier Hunting and Fishing Discord server, and the link is there if you want to go on there. We get questions on there. It's a good community, people helping each other. The fishing questions or hunting questions, whatever it be, it's a good active community to answer those sort of questions. And here is the question for tonight. It comes from Ja Rule. And Ja Rule says, so this week I'm taking my sons out to a free kids tournament at a local lake. I'm trying not to overthink it because it's supposed to be a fun event, but I definitely want the kids to really catch something. I've only been to this particular lake once. Didn't catch anything before because it's a bit out of my way, but from all indications, it is a high quality lake. For some reason, the tournament is to run from noon to 4 o'clock, which does not seem ideal, and I would definitely say. He doesn't say where this lake is, but I would definitely say that's not ideal, my opinion. The lake has a bait shop, and I'll be renting a boat. We're in the mid-Atlantic region, where most fish are in the summer to fall transition period. Water temps in the low 70s. The lake is in a region of 120 acres, holds bass, channel cat, walleye, and black crappie. He talks about the baits he's going to bring. He says his strategy is he's going to take the boat to the deepest part, 36 feet, and drop the lines with a 4-ounce weight, and an 18-inch leader for minnows, and weight and float rig for the liver. Night crawlers, and the event is not specific on species, with prizes of an unknown nature for the biggest fish of each species. And he was asking,
so what's his question?
Is there anything that I'm missing or should be considering? Well,
first of all, it's a free kids tournament, so it's going to be tough to get a spot. It's going to be hard to, if you're just fishing, there's just a lot of people out on
Grant
those
went on Facebook and he found us. He said, I found you.
Yeah. Found us on Facebook.
Now we're just dividing up all of our viewership. It's going everywhere.
It's going everywhere.
So I had some thoughts about so I was approaching it from this way. If I was going to a lake or if I was going to a bay that I didn't generally fish, I didn't know anything about, where would I start?
The local bait shop.
That's exactly what I thought too, Karen. I was like, I'm going to go to the local bait shop and I'm going to ask them if they're willing to share any. I'm not asking for spots. I'm not asking for those sort of things, but things to get you started. What works in this lake, and you'll find that a lot of times your local bait shops they're helpful guys. A lot of times there's guys just hanging out there, and so that's definitely where I would start. I would say go to your local bait shop and just start asking questions. This is Facebook and Instagram. I'm slow. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Facebook and Instagram. Appreciate the follows, okay? Appreciate it. But yeah, your local bait shop, that's going to be the first thing. But I'm going to show you.
I would fish when it's not a tournament. Like, that's going to be the busiest day ever, and you don't.
Well, yeah, you may want to see if you can get out there before the tournament actually starts and see if you can get on some things. But what I would do. One of the things that I would do if I was going to, I'm going to
Google Earth or whatever.
Yeah. So here's an example. I'm gonna go down to Matagorda. I don't fish Matagorda, so let's bring this up. I don't fish Matagorda. Some of you might fish Matagorda, know anything about this, but if I'm saying I'm going to fish East Matagorda Bay, where do I start? Google Earth is your friend. Go on Google Earth. And what you're going to do, you can zoom in. Sometimes you'll get lucky, and as you're zooming, you'll find boats sitting in places, and that's a great thing. But when I'm zooming in, I'm kind of looking down, and I'm looking for things like this. Where there's an area that's got some structure to it, where there's coves, because when you're out on the water, you're not going to be able to see this stuff. Here's a nice cut there. And it looks like there's some islands there, and so that's definitely a good place to start. As a matter of fact, that looks like that's a boat trail right there that's going in. But I'm looking for places like that. I'm going to start on Google Earth and I'm going to start looking around, and I'm going to see what I can find. And that's one thing I would tell anybody who's thinking about fishing a new area. Explore it virtually. We have the technology that they didn't have back then, so we can actually go in there and we can look at places. So if you go to your local bait shop, talk to those guys that are in that area, and they probably can point you in the direction. Look on Google Maps and things. The other thing you can do is just go on YouTube and Google that lake and see if anybody's posting videos about it. That's one thing I did when we moved here to Sabine. There was a guy, and I'll shout him out, Orange Fisherman. I don't think he's posting anymore. I haven't seen anything recent from him. But the Orange Fisherman was posting, and he was talking about different boat launches. He was talking about different areas to fish. And so that got me started. I was like, okay, so I can learn a little bit about the area. I can learn a little bit about the structure. And that's some great ways, just free resources to say this is how you get started in an area that you're just not familiar with because maybe distance or whatever it be. And then the third thing that I would definitely say, and if you have a suggestion as well, let me know what you guys think about if you're getting started fishing in a new area. But one of the other things that I did, again, we moved here 18 months ago, never had fished this area before. So I went, we talked to locals, and this would be if I'm going to be fishing that area for a while. So if I'm going to invest in that area, I do go out with a guide. I'll go out with a guide and I'll tell them, hey, look, I'm just going to pay you. I'm not paying you for your spots. I'm not going to take your spots. I just want to go on a navigational trip with you. And I want you to show me where structure is I want to avoid, where's the best boat launches, how do I get from point A to point B. And you pay him for his time, you pay him for his gas, that sort of thing. Not really out there to fish, not out there to catch fish. Sometimes we have. But I did that in Aransas Pass, and we did that here, and it was very helpful. So if I'm going to be investing the time, now that doesn't really apply to this person because they're just fishing a tournament there. But if you have the time and you say, hey, I'm going to go out with a guide, I'll just pay a guide to take me out. If I was going to fish on like Sam Rayburn or something like that, I might do that. I might find a person who fishes that lake often, be like, hey, can I pay you for your time and your gas?
And mark all the stumps.
Mark the stumps, and just go out with them. And a lot of fishermen would be going. Now some are, they would not really amenable to that idea. But a lot of the guides, they're not going to show you.
Like that one guide in Aransas Pass.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
But we had to try again.
But guides aren't, if a guide needs to protect their spots, they're not going to show you all their honey holes. They're just not going to do it, and I wouldn't do that either. But at the same time, they'll show you some general thing. Then since it's kids, live bait is going to be your ticket. Get some tie lines with catfish.
And it depends on, like he said, he was going for catfish. He said he was bringing liver and crawlers and stuff.
Ben says also in fishing with kids, don't overlook the value of failure. What went wrong and how to improve. That's an important point too. The times where I've gone out and I've not caught things, you do learn, and you have to learn from those things. If you go out and you succeed every time, you really get lazy and you don't learn as much. And so you learn a lot. And fishing with kids, it can be tough. There's a meme out there that says, 20 minutes of no bite, and the kid's like laying out on his boat. It's like 20 minutes no bite, the struggle is real.
Or like our kid is just like, if you take me and we don't catch anything, I'm just bad luck.
I'm just bad luck. Yeah. So those are just some things that I would definitely say maybe to help you get started with fishing in an area.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you ever share this live stream with the person who asked the question? Because how do they know we've answered it?
Because actually, that's a good question. I clip it and post it on the Discord question for them so they can go back, and actually people do respond back to it as well. So
so they know we're talking about them.
Yeah, we're talking about them, but in good ways, trying to help them. That's the whole thing. Is you teach a man to fish, right? Teach a man to fish. So that's what we're trying to do. But I would say get on Google Earth and start just exploring the lake visually. Get some good landmarks, some things that you can remember, especially if you're renting a boat. Now, here's one thing I'm going to say, because the guy said he's renting a boat. If you're renting a boat and you're not familiar with that lake, definitely get familiar with it. Get on that map and just get some. You don't want to get lost.
Either that or buy the insurance.
Well, you definitely don't have to buy the insurance, but just get some visual markers up because things look different on the water. There's times where you get out there and maybe the visibility isn't there, whatever it be. And you don't have to go to the deepest parts of the lake to catch fish. Look for structure. And you can see that a lot of times on the Google Earth. So there's some things there to help you kind of get started there. And fishing tournaments are always tough because you got the added pressure of the tournament itself because you're kind of out there to have fun. but you're kind of out there to win too.
Yeah.
So just do your best, enjoy your things. And if there's anything I can tell you about fishing that I've learned, sometimes from the School of Hard Knocks on this, is patience. Try and be patient with the kids because they don't have the attention span that we do. They've been watching YouTube Shorts all day. And snacks.
Bring the snacks.
Bring the snacks. Because if they're having a bad day and things just aren't going the way that you want, give them a good snack. And one of the things that I also would say is promise them afterwards, regardless of what happens in the tournament, you're going to take it for ice cream or something like that. And give them something to look forward to. And I think that'll really help as well when you're fishing with kids, because we do that quite a bit. Hope that's helpful to you. If anybody in the chat has anything that they'd like to add to that, I would appreciate that. Or if you're listening to the replay of this and you have some ideas on that, then help out this guy with those ideas.